What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. It is, well, it's just not quite the first day of spring. I think it's the second day of spring, but I am so happy to be here. And I'm actually on my standing desk today, so I'm a little bit higher than I am normally. So, anyways, welcome to another episode of Brand Marks the Spot, a show where we talk about all things branding and how to help your business gain more traction online so you can focus on the things that you love to do and make a professional, um, you know, uh, look and feel online, a professional brand presence online. So that way you can impress your audience and give them the uh, credibility that they want to have in you. So that's what we are here for today. If you are live, please just drop a comment, say hi, how you doing. Just checking to make sure we're live. Let's see here. I can never figure this out. I'm just checking this out on my iPad. Yes, it appears that we are in fact live. So I'm trying to find out how to get the comments going. Well, I'll get it going here in a second. Anyways, happy to be here. Um, anyways, today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 5 ways that you can improve your brand presence right now. And we're going to go over those 5 things. Now, when I say right now, these are changes that you can make, today or tomorrow in the very short term. With the understanding that branding isn't something that happens overnight, but these are the changes that you can make right now, or the things that you could do right now that will help you boost your brand presence online. But before we start, this episode is brought to you by the Create a Lead Magnet That Doesn't Suck Canva template pack. And this is actually one way that you can improve your brand presence online by having a lead magnet that is going to look professional and something that your audience is actually going to want to download. These are PDFs. This is a PDF template that you can create for yourself. There's over 30 pages plus bonuses. There's ads templates. There's Facebook header templates. There's mock-up templates that come with it as a bonus. Plus, access to me. And there's even a crash course in Canva bonus course in there. So go ahead and check that out at patricksesko.com/lead magnet and grab your template pack and make yourself look professional online today. And so that's what we got there. And so now let's talk about the 5 things that are going to improve your brand presence online, something you can do today. So the first thing that you want to consider when you are wanting to improve your brand presence online is you want to use the same visual branding wherever you post your stuff. So whether that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whether you're a company brand, whether you're a personal brand, all of these things need to be consistent. And I see this very often to where people do not tend to use consistent look and feel across everything because I don't know, maybe they get tired of it. Maybe they just don't know any better. Or maybe they get tired of these colors that they're using, or maybe they don't, they get tired of the font, or, maybe just the design sensibilities change or something like that. So everywhere you go, even if you're sick of it. In fact, I even have an episode, I can't remember what number it is, but there's an episode that says if you're sick of your brand identity, that means you're doing it right, because you have to remember we are in the midst of our own brands day in, day out. We eat, breathe, sleep our own brands because they're ours. And like anything else that you're exposed to 24/7, you're going to get tired of it sometimes, certain aspects of it anyways. So keep in mind, your audience is not seeing it day in and day out. They're just going to be exposed to it briefly here and there. And you have to remember that they need to be exposed to your brand, 5 to 7 times before they even start to remember it and before they associate it with you. So it's super important to keep that consistent, because if it's not consistent, each time they see it, whether it's an ad or whether it's an episode, long form content like this, it's sort of like resets the streak, if you will. They need to see this thing over and over, the same look and feel that is going to be associated with you. And so if that streak is broken, it's going to kind of break that cognitive association with your brand. So it's kind of a little psychological thing there, but that's something to keep in mind. So, your design, whether it's your textures, colors, fonts, your photography, your brand photography, obviously those things will change as time goes on. And it's not to say that your brand colors and fonts can't or won't change in the future, but that's something you should look into. And as you progress, and maybe your audience changes, and maybe your brand needs to change to coincide with that. But it's not something you should just change on the whim. So keep that consistent all throughout your online presence. And number two, another second way you can increase your brand presence online is to create consistent content as consistently as possible. And, arguably it's one of the hardest things to do, especially if we're solopreneurs. We're doing all of this stuff on our own. And in fact, it's been a challenge for me. And it's the reason why I chose to do a live show, because all of the prep, all of the recording, if I were to do this as a pre-recorded show, all of the prep, the recording, the research for each show, recording, editing, posting on various, YouTubes or, what have you, editing and all that stuff, that was a barrier for me to get it done, because I do so much of this stuff on my own. I do my own email marketing. I obviously do my own branding and design. I do my own content. I create my own products. All these things that I do online, as well as all the back end stuff, like managing my email service provider, managing my website, dealing with contractors, managing some of my bookkeeping and accounting, even though I do have some accountants, but all of these things that we're doing on our own. And so I chose to do a live show because that removed a barrier for me on how to, do all of the editing and pre-recording and scripting and all that stuff. That was too much for me. So whatever you can do to make your life a little easier, to get your content consistently. When I say content, I'm talking about long form content like a blog post, video show, podcast. That's just to keep yourself top of mind awareness with your audience. It's something that you can share each week. And the great thing about doing long form content like this, and you'll notice too, just as a side note, I make mistakes. And even if it's live, I say a lot of ums and ahs, and it's just who I am. And it really allows you to show up more authentically, because you're not worried about, oh, I messed up on that, I'm going to have to refilm it, and it's, you can get caught up in this analysis paralysis and perfection cycle that will prevent you from getting this stuff done. Then it becomes like this big chore. So if you're going to do a show like this or a live podcast, I love the live aspect of it, because I can get it done quickly. It shows my true personality, warts and all, as they say. So going back to the weekly content, the long form stuff is great, because now once it's done, once it's live, you can download that video and easily, either with your iPhone or, if you have a virtual assistant, they can take little snippets of those videos. And those can be little quick, Instagram, IGTV or Reels, or little short, 1 to 2 minute snippets, and directing people to go see your show, go watch your show, or listen to your podcast, or read your blog post. So that's what's great about doing that. So weekly consistent content, it's arguably one of the hardest things to do. I've struggled with it in the past. When I decided to do the live show, that's made it a lot easier. I did have a little, like a 4-week break in there when I got sick with COVID, but I'm obviously back now. So anyways, that's the life of the online entrepreneur. All right. So number 3, the third thing you can do to increase your brand presence is to make sure that, 1, you're making offers to your audience, and 2, make sure those offers are aligned with your audience and obviously what you do and how you serve them. So, for instance, I'm a graphic designer and a brand designer. So I'm not, even though I am a online business owner, and I run my own business, so I have some experience doing that. So while I focus on the branding and things like that, but I also talk about some of the business stuff, because that's one of the barriers that a lot of people who are going to be solopreneurs have. So I think it's important to share those kinds of things. So that's an alignment for me, because my audience, they're online entrepreneurs who are struggling with getting their brand presence and their branding up to snuff. So I do focus on the branding, but I also focus on how other aspects of running your own business can be, challenging, or maybe I'll give you some tips or pointers, or, things that, my insights on how it's affected my business. So make sure whatever your offers are, make sure they're aligned with your audience, and make sure you know where your audience is sort of on their journey, their arc. And I've talked about that in other episodes. All right. So number 4, participate in groups and basically where your audience hangs out. So this is going to be like Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, just general things like that. And if you're, brick and mortar, maybe it could be your Chamber of Commerce groups or your BNIs or things like that, networking groups. And this is something that takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of effort and time. Over time, you can, it's not something that happens overnight. So this is something that you do have to start with. And, so for instance, I'm in a couple of Facebook groups where I'm very active and I'm always providing value. And I'm sure you've heard provide value. I mean, someone has a question, I might do I'll give them a 10-minute Zoom call, or I'll create a Loom on showing them how to do something, or I'll give them a resource, but I'm never selling, right? I'm always just showing hey, I'm going to be helpful as it relates to my expertise, because we're all in this together. And that kind of puts out the goodwill, and that kind of increases your brand awareness, because your brand isn't just your visuals. Your brand is how you show up in your business, how you show up online, how you show up in groups of other people. Because even though this is an online business and we're always talking about scaling, I also believe that it's important. Connection is important. And even if you're online, I believe that old school, old style connection is super important. Customer service, making connections, having relationships is super important than just kind of having, scales of people that you don't know, which I know you want to do if you're doing a course, or you're, like with my template products, obviously, but I still want to create a connection with people. So I participate in these groups and I help out whenever I can. So participate in groups where your audience hangs out, and that will boost your brand presence online. And then lastly, number 5, the 5th way to boost your brand presence online is to partner with peers that are aligned with what you do. Whether it's, appearing on somebody's podcast or a guest blog, or a video show interview, or potentially collaborating with somebody on an offer, or maybe doing a webinar together, or a combined Q&A, or maybe offering a free training in somebody else's group to kind of help their audience, but still giving you some exposure to their audience. And this works really well when you partner with people who have a similar audience that has overlap, but not in what you do. So so maybe I'm a graphic designer, and brand strategist. So a good person for me to partner with would be, a photographer, or maybe a writer, somebody who's going to have an overlap of audience, but then we can really combine things. So maybe I can partner with a writer and create a branding and messaging course or something like that, right? Or it could be a webinar or something like that. So think about how you can partner with a peer, or a mentor or a mentee that is aligned with what you do, and that kind of can amplify your exposure, and also again provide goodwill. And and then again, it goes back to that connection. You're interacting with other peers, so these are other business people that you can commiserate with, or hang out with online. And hopefully when all of this pandemic stuff is done with, maybe meet in person at events and things like that. But yeah, partnering with peers in somewhere that's aligned with what you do. So that's what I got for you guys today. Let me check to see if there's any comments. It doesn't appear. So, if you have any questions, certainly drop in a comment below. If you're watching the replay, just type in #replay. As always, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, just, tag me. I'm a little blurry today. I don't know why. Just tag me online, and I'll definitely answer your call. Hey Martha, how you doing? Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's always nice to have somebody watching with you, but that's what I love doing live video, because I don't have to worry about, editing or doing retakes or all that stuff. So that's what I got for you guys today. You guys have a good week, and I will see you guys next week. And don't forget to check out that lead magnet template at patricksesko.com/lead magnet. And we will see you on the next episode. You guys have a great afternoon. Later.